Lions Nation, take a deep breath because the moment has arrived. We're entering a decisive stretch of the season, and Detroit's defense may be about to get a boost that changes everything. The wait has been long, the battle has been tough, but now the clock is ticking, and the next few weeks could define not just this team's destiny, but what we'll see on the field at the end of the year. This is the kind of story that separates good teams from legendary ones. The strength, the resilience, and the culture built here are about to be tested in an epic way. Before we dive into this journey, make sure to hit that like to power up our blue and silver community and drop a comment below. Do you believe this defense will return even more dominant after this comeback? I want to hear from you. Let's roll together, because the roar is just getting started. It's October, the season is in full swing, and just when many wondered how this Lions defense would hold up after key injuries, a major shift has arrived. Dan Campbell confirmed it today. Alim McNeill's 21-day window has officially been opened. That means the countdown has started, and the Detroit Lions now have 3 weeks to decide whether McNeill can return to the active roster or remain shelved for the rest of the season. Campbell himself admitted McNeill feels a little nervous, not because he doubts his game, but because for the first time in his career he's been forced to sit out this long. 10 months away from football for a player who has lived and breathed the game his entire life. Imagine what that does to your mindset. Now imagine unleashing that hunger back onto the field. That's what's coming. For fans who aren't fully familiar with how the process works, here's the deal. When a player comes back from injury, the team opens a 21-day evaluation period. Within that window, they can either activate him to the 53-man roster or shut him down for the rest of the year. There's no middle ground. In McNeill's case, that decision is going to be one of the most pivotal moves of this season, because we're talking about a defensive tackle who had 7.5 sacks the last time he was healthy. For an interior lineman, those are payday numbers, the kind of production that puts your name among the elite. Next to Aiden Hutchinson, McNeill has been the heartbeat of this defensive front, the 1-2 punch that sets the tone. Hutch had 11.5, McNeill had 7.5. Those stats don't lie, and they change the entire complexion of how offenses have to prepare for Detroit. This defense just held Cleveland to 10 points, and while the Lions are already showing grit, everyone remembers how dominant the run defense was when McNeill was healthy.
We're talking top 5 level, stonewalling ground games week after week. Without him, they've been patching things together, leaning on Tariq Williams and others to fill the gaps. But there's only one Alim McNeill. He doesn't need 50 snaps his first game back, but even in limited action he tilts the field. Opponents feel his presence, and that's the kind of boost this team needs right now, especially with both starting corners banged up and depth being tested all across the secondary. You can't replace corners overnight, but you can take pressure off them by wrecking plays up front, and McNeill does that better than almost anyone in his position group. Timing is everything here. The Lions strategically opened his window heading into the bye week, giving themselves flexibility. The calendar plays into their hands. If McNeill's return lands after the bye, it buys him extra days of recovery without burning through the evaluation period too quickly. That means the first real opportunity to see him back could be the first week of November. Circle that date. By then, the trade deadline will have passed, and Detroit's defensive line might look even scarier depending on whether Brad Holmes makes a move. Imagine Hutchinson, McNeill, and possibly another reinforcement anchoring the trenches down the stretch. That's not just depth, that's a statement. What makes this even more meaningful is the journey. McNeill's injury wasn't just another setback. It came during a stretch when the defense was already losing key pieces: Hutchinson, Derek Barnes, Marcus Davenport. Piece by piece, that unit was forced to fight with fewer and fewer of its leaders. McNeill was the blow that made many question if this defense could survive. But instead of folding, they found ways to hang on. Now, as he nears his return, it feels like everything could come full circle. The defense that has battled through adversity is about to get one of its foundational pieces back. And this isn't just about stats or schemes. This regime has shown time and time again that they take care of their players the right way. They did it with Jameson Williams. They did it with Hendon Hooker. Now they're doing it with McNeill, being cautious, respecting the body, respecting the person behind the jersey. That's why guys want to play for Dan Campbell and this front office. It's not just about throwing someone back out there to win a single game. It's about making sure careers are protected, making sure the player is at his best when the team truly needs him. That culture matters, and it's paying dividends in the way this locker room continues to respond to adversity. Now here's where it gets really interesting. If McNeill does return right after the bye, that lines him up perfectly for the stretch run, November into December, when games get heavy, the standings get tight, and defenses either bend or break. That's when a dominant run stuffer who can also get to the quarterback becomes invaluable. That's when a defensive tackle who commands double teams frees up Hutchinson to wreak havoc off the edge. And that's when fans will remember why McNeil earned that big payday in the first place. So the stage is set. Alan McNeil's clock is ticking, and the Detroit Lions have until October 22nd to make the call. By all accounts, his body feels ready, but the team will be smart, deliberate, and patient. Expect his first snaps to come in early November, and when they do, expect this defense to look a lot more like the top 5 unit it was trending toward before injuries hit. The countdown has begun, the anticipation is building, and one of Detroit's most important defenders is on the verge of returning to battle. What do you think, Lions fans? Does the return of Alan McNeil make this defense a top 5 unit again? Are you confident he can get back to full form and give Hutchinson the partner he's been missing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear if you think this is the move that puts Detroit over the top. And here's where the excitement really starts to build, because when you think about what Alan McNeil brings, it's not just numbers, it's the energy, the physicality, and the identity of this defense. Every great team has those tone setters, the players that don't just make plays, but change the attitude of everyone around them. That's McNeil. When he steps on the field, even in practice, guys know the level has to rise. You can hear it in the way Dan Campbell talks about him. This isn't just about filling a spot on the roster. This is about restoring the personality of the defense. Think about the ripple effect. With McNeil back, opposing offensive lines can't just slide protection to Hutchinson every snap. They can't double him and hope to neutralize the rush. Suddenly, the math changes. You leave McNeil single-blocked, he collapses the pocket from the inside. You double him, Hutchinson gets one-on-one off the edge. And if the Lions do add another piece at the deadline, you're talking about a defensive line rotation that could wear teams down by the fourth quarter. That's the kind of chess match Detroit hasn't been able to consistently play without McNeil. His presence forces offenses to pick their poison, and either way, the Lions win. And it's not just about the pass rush. The run defense impact is huge. Before McNeil went down, Detroit was smothering opposing running games, sitting among the top 5 in the league. That type of dominance changes everything. It forces teams to abandon balance, to become predictable, and that's when Aaron Glenn can unleash his blitz packages and put quarterbacks in survival mode. With McNeil anchoring the middle, linebackers flow freer, safeties can sit back in coverage instead of creeping down to stop the run. It's a domino effect that makes the entire defense stronger from top to bottom. But there's another layer here, timing with the schedule. Coming out of the bye in early November, Detroit faces the part of the season that could define its playoff positioning. Games against tough opponents, divisional battles, and matchups where every yard matters. Having McNeil's legs fresh at that point, instead of worn down from the grind of early season snaps, could be a hidden advantage. While other teams are breaking down, the Lions could be gearing up with one of their most important defensive pieces just hitting stride. That's how you sustain momentum into December and January. And we can't overlook the emotional spark. This locker room has been through injuries, setbacks, and questions about depth. Getting a leader like McNeil back right when the stretch run begins injects a surge of belief. It's the kind of moment that makes a team feel invincible, that no matter what they've gone through, they're getting stronger when others are fading. Remember last season, every time people doubted, this team found a way to answer. Now, as the trade deadline approaches and reinforcements return, it feels like the Lions are gearing up for something bigger than just surviving the regular season. They're building toward a run. Of course, the Lions are going to be cautious. Dan Campbell made it clear. McNeil says he feels ready, but the staff isn't rushing him. That's been a consistent theme with this regime. Protect the player, protect the future, and in the process, protect the team's long-term goals. We saw it with Jameson Williams, we saw it with Hendon Hooker, and we're seeing it again now. They don't just talk about caring for players, they prove it with action. That kind of patience doesn't always grab headlines, but it builds trust inside the building. And trust is the foundation of everything this team is building. Now add one more dimension. October isn't just about football, it's Cancer Awareness Month. The Lions are making sure the spotlight extends beyond the field, with pink-themed merchandise supporting cancercares.org. 20% of all proceeds go directly to the fight against cancer, with fans able to grab hats, hoodies, mugs, and more. It's a reminder that this organization, this fan base, and this city are connected in ways that go beyond wins and losses. The return of McNeil brings hope on the field, while initiatives like this bring hope off it. And that's the true power of this team. They're lifting the city in every way possible. So here we are, Lions fans. The clock is ticking, the anticipation is growing, and the pieces are starting to fall into place. We've seen what this defense looks like without McNeil. Soon, we'll see what it looks like with him back, and if history tells us anything, it's going to be a whole different animal. Opposing quarterbacks will feel it. Running backs will feel it. And most importantly, this team will feel it. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Alim McNeill's return is the final spark that pushes this defense back into the top 5? Do you see him and Hutchinson reclaiming their spot as one of the most dangerous duos in the NFL? Or do you think the Lions still need to make a trade to finish the puzzle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is only just beginning, and I want to hear how you see it playing out. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's almost poetic how this moment has arrived. The Lions have been tested in every possible way. Injuries at critical positions, questions about depth, the grind of an NFL season that never lets up. And yet, right when doubt could have started to creep in, the news breaks, Alim McNeill is on his way back. It feels less like coincidence and more like the perfect timing of a team that refuses to let adversity write its story. This is the kind of development that can reshape a season, not just statistically, but emotionally, spiritually, in the way a locker room believes in itself. Fans know this feeling. You've seen teams that crumble when injuries pile up. You've also seen those rare ones that find another gear, that turn setbacks into fuel. That's exactly what Detroit has been doing. And now, with McNeill's return looming, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire that's already burning. Suddenly, you're not just surviving, you're attacking, you're dictating, you're making opponents adjust to you. That's the difference between a good team and a great one. And let's not forget, McNeill is still young. He hasn't even hit the prime of his career yet, and already he's proven he can be one of the most disruptive interior linemen in the game. Getting him back isn't just about the 2025 season.